far as what we're doing?
Whatever it is you want me to help you with right now.
Wherever the knee and side control.
Just do what you normally do.
I'm going to take the side control here. What I normally want to do is walk my way to no shot. Right? And so when I do that, I'm able to get his arms down here.
Yes.
And then what I do is when the set up this knee pummel, and then I come and I start attacking this.
So it basically gets you the upside push.
When he drops this arm,
Yeah.
I feel like if I really hard, I'm doing that. But if I am able to sneakily get to my hands to here, in this north south, if I can pop out here, I can usually create some scramble.
Yeah.
Turn.
Good. Okay.
And then we'll get it, I'll get it in, and then maybe I can get retain hard or something.
So here's what I'll do is I will. What I'll do is put me in that same position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through over here and tell you what I'm doing. So when we're here, number one, okay, my arm can't be over committed. Number one, I don't want it on this side yet, okay? But here I need to keep my elbow pinched. And I need to make it hard for him to get around my head right here, which is why you have your arm around here. You notice Brad, he's very good at basically blocking you in here. Because he's so strong and rigid, it's like you can't get to, you can't walk north-south, and you're kind of stuck here. And then he's able to just bump you up and begin to already, like, you know, go for an underhook, and he goes.
That's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he did.
Correct. And it's incredibly annoying because he's got long arms, and he's super strong, and he's super rigid. So it's tough to get around to walk north-south, which, you know, most everybody would do, okay?
Well, as I go north-south with him,
Yeah.
he ends up sneaking me on top of him and taking me.
Well, yeah, correct. But he still kind of needs an underhook. But what he's doing, he's laying on his side, and he's letting you get into a position that he usually uses to escape. So you walk into his escape, not training with him, not knowing that this is where he wants you to be. You know what I'm saying? So you have to make sure you have an underhook on top. Because what you did is, I think you postured up, or he may have bumped you up.
You bumped me up,
Yeah.
pummeled an underhook, and then went.
Correct.
He chased me, and then he got underneath me and actually swept me the opposite direction.
Correct. Yes, because what he does is that he prevents you from walking around the head. So, and I know what he does. You did a similar thing to me here. So we're here as you're walking around the head. Okay, you go here, goes here, and you can't get around the head because this is still blocking. And then he's here, and this, you know, potentially does that. And I've showed you guys that before. It's just a matter of using it. So let's say to answer Andrew's question here. Okay. So as I'm here, what I need to do is I need to at least make it a fight for him to get past this arm right here. Okay. Because from here, I'm flat. This is like the worst position for me to be in. But keep your knee here, okay? Just so that because it wouldn't make sense for me to be here. Because I don't need my bottom knee doesn't do anything because it's my outside leg that moves my hip, okay? So as he's here, okay? And what did he do to you? He walked around the head, right?
Yeah.
Or you walked around the head, right?
I kind of went to a knee on belly,
Yeah.
and then he shot that underhook,
Yeah, of course.
and that's when I started trying to catch.
Yeah, you're not going to get out from this position here. Knee to the belly is way too much space on him, so you got to make sure you have that underhook here.
Okay.
But for you and Wet, right? So as we're here, I don't want him to expose his arm, so I got to protect this arm here, but I have to also be ready to frame. Okay, I can frame against his head, but it needs to come to this side here. Okay, so what would you do from here? Go ahead.
So from here, I try.
You see how that side yarmulke works nicely? In order for him to avoid that lateral push, he'll posture up, but it creates space. Now from here, I got to be able to do something with that space. I can't just get the elbow knee connected. Okay, so think side yarmulke, because he's got to, in order to be able to reach this arm here, I know what potentially he'll do. He's going to use his left hand to reach it. But if you do that, you have already here. You have an underhook. But when you get the underhook, you go. You don't get the underhook and stay. You gotta go, otherwise it's gonna hold you down. Because if I don't shoot that underhook and begin to already fight here, begin to wrestle up, all I'm doing is just holding his hips, and he can just control me if I don't do something with it.
That's a big problem that I have is I'll get a positive position like an underhook.
Yeah.
I got the underhook and then I'll just stay.
Keep going with it. Underhook is a path to the back. So your primary goal is to use that underhook to expose the back. Whatever he does in counter to your underhook is gonna consist of wrestling. And in that scramble, it's a matter of who's better at just using the underhook, collecting the legs, and just wrestling up. Because you wrestle up going back, in order for him to stop it, he's gotta move his hips back. So if we're here, and we're here, right? And maybe I gave him a side hammock or whatever, and I turned here, and I immediately shot here. Okay, I want to control here. So as he's moving around, what would you do? Yeah.
Trying to work a guard or something.
Correct. I know that potentially he'll go to the bottom, but you need to be able to circle around because you know that his options are going to be either to wrestle or potentially go into some kind of a guard. But you get that underhook and you go. Because otherwise, what's underhook for? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? And you got to frame. Because what will happen here also is that, so you'll be here. Okay, go ahead. See how he'll posture up and I got to get the signature here. I got to be able to actually connect movements and then continue to recompose my guard. First line of defense for guard is feet and knees. Most of the time it's easier to insert a knee, but you got to get the feet back in the game because now he's got to pass. You know what I'm saying? Because if I just get a knee in, it's too easy to defeat. He'll stuff that knee, but you have other potential options here because your left leg has to come over to control the head if you don't get the feet inside. So when you get the shin and knee connected, knee here, okay? He'll still be here, okay? Because now from here I can begin to frame. But here, this leg is now a liability because all he has to do is just basically grab the instep right here with his right hand on the inside of the foot, not the heel, the shin, at the top of the foot. Yes, and push it, and now repass. So whenever you get here, you have to think here. So now he's got a dilemma. He's got an arm potentially here that you're already starting to crank. So he's got to defend it. More times than not, you'll bend it into a kimura, and now you're here.
Which is what we worked on earlier.
Similar, yeah. Because here, look, I may have this, okay, but I know I don't have a triangle because I don't have his arm caught. So now I frame here. He's got to do something. What would you do to react here? And you essentially recover guard. And then you go from here into the next. I don't want to be, oh, I'm here. And then I'm like, oh, and pull back in the guard, and then I'll restart. And then you're here, whatever, maybe arm drags, whatever it may be. But the guard recomposition has to be there. So, that taught me this a long time ago. So, depending on where my arms are here, okay? If I'm here and I frame here, what I want to do is I want to use the frames to kind of guide him above me. Because you have this here. Because if you're here and you're here, this is a straight arm lock, like from the guard. But you need that leg over in order to push the head away. If he's here, you can begin to extend it. But in order for him to save his arm here, he has to pull it out. And you know that if he pulls it out, the tighter you have it, the more he's got to rip it out, the more he's got to posture up. You anticipate that rip, and you make him pull it out like strong, space, knees, feet, guard. So that's just one scenario here.
This is very similar to what he was doing to me. And so at the end, he just pinned me for like 2 minutes, and I could not get out.
Correct.
And it was this grip
Yes.
right here
Yeah.
that just fucked me. I mean, every time I tried to do anything with my hips, he was just correct.
Because he's controlling your outside hip. But he's leaving an underhook open. Okay? Because he can't plug that hole. Okay? So as I'm here, okay, look, you can go here. That hip grip is not very effective. He can maybe muscle you, Keep the hip grip. So you're here, look. Got it. So the hip grip is more of a mind fuck for the bottom person because they're like, oh shit, he's got my hip. And then you're like, oh, okay, he's got my hip. I'm gonna go for the underhook. That won't work. That won't work. He's got my hip. He's got my hip. But he's leaving his elbow. Look. Not honestly. You know why? I can't stomp an underhook from here.
Because he was super tight, and he was on his toes, and his legs were straight, and this was just like fork pinned to the mat. Like it was this whole pressure here, and he was way forward on me. It's like, yeah, like that.
What was this on? Crossface?
Crossface. Yeah, like that. And then every time I would try to move, he just walk with me.
Look, my elbow. Yeah, I shoot that hip and climb. I gotta let go.
Okay.
Because number one, you pin my crossface arm, and when you bridge, I'm going face first. So I gotta let go of something. Typically, it's gonna be whatever's gonna stop me from going face first into the mat. So you have to play this feeling game, especially when you get into these shitty ass positions, okay? So you're here, right? Now I need to make it at least difficult for him. Look, I know he's got an underhook, okay, because I'm already in a fuck position because I didn't just magically wind up here. Shit went wrong a while ago. So here I'm pinching because I want him to at least work here, okay? So he moves with me, that's fine, okay? I'm here, right? And I'm okay because from here, I know one simple thing. I know that if he's not doing anything, he's not attacking, and I'm fine. So now I gotta make it at least difficult for him by using connection, because there's a connection here and a connection here, okay? For him to begin to move somehow. Yeah, so you have to, at some point, restrict the movement to where you're so connected that you feel them moving. And you restrict them from moving freely, and the first one that moves from that stagnant position will be the one that loses, because you should be able to anticipate from that restriction of movement what the possibilities are for the person that is in the better position. And the second that they begin to move, you feel it, and then you already begin to exploit that movement, but you have to be patient.
And that's what he told me. He said, at your level, he said, you need to start, basically he said, you need to start being able to force your way out. He said, I could tell you were waiting for me to do something, because I was just like making little movements and kind of waiting for him to move, but he just decided, I'm gonna hold this guy down. And he told me, he said, you need to learn when to explode. And so I think I need to take that.
Yes and no, because if you follow what he's suggested to you, it goes directly contrary to what I just said.
That's
You
what I
can't
understand.
force it, because he wasn't taught that. He can force it because he's strong enough to force it. He's long enough to force it. He's rigid enough to force it. And a lot of his jiu-jitsu is forced. It's him just ramming it down your throat. His jiu-jitsu isn't this smooth, like, cycle of positional changes where you just wind up caught because you were just late or whatever. Oftentimes, you just grab your fucking head, twist the shit out of it, you're gonna go with it so your neck doesn't snap, and then he'll like finish it there, you know? Which is okay. You know, a lot of guys have that jiu-jitsu to succeed with it. But you can't do that when guys are in a dominant position. Like with you, okay? If I'm here and you're in a dominant position right here, okay? I'm not gonna be able to force my way out of it. I have to already begin to get here to where now I begin to already measure like how you're gonna move. Okay, so from here, like I did this with Michael. Like I think before he disappeared again somewhere. I'm just kidding. He's working. He sat here. He just kept me in side control. I'm here. He's here, and I'm like, he's not moving. I'm not moving. So this is great and all, but in all reality, but at some point you say to yourself, okay, well I'm gonna be here, and then when they least expect it. You can begin to, but that's already because the guy, you already know that they're just holding you. They don't want to move. And some guys do that. That's not what I teach you guys. But so as we're here, right, I got to at least get in a position where I restrict the movement and I begin to create discomfort for him to stay in this position.
Yeah, because now I'm feeling like I want to move.
Correct.
With this
Yeah,
right
yeah,
here.
yeah. And I can feel it with my right knee.
Yeah, I don't
So
like
how
it.
would you, where would you move to? Just that slight movement. The second he starts, I already begin to counter because I can feel with my right knee that where you're moving. So I can already begin to exploit that because he's too focused on his initial movement. So the second he moves, I move to counter his movement. But you have to create that sound. I'm not just laying here with my arm here. I'm framing in his hip. I'm connecting kind of his hip with my knee. This elbow's pinching, and I'm kind of also tucking my chin to pin his arm.
Yeah, just with what you're doing, I'm feeling my hip get light, and I'm not liking it.
Correct. Correct. So here, I make him uncomfortable, but I'm now going to observe the rule of being the first one to move loses. So as I'm here, okay, and he's controlling me, I feel his right arm, I feel his head, I feel his chest. And you begin to actually utilize his movement to create this, but you got to keep moving. If I didn't connect movement after movement after movement, how am I going to get out of it? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know if you ever went riding ATVs in the desert and you get into these bowls, okay? You can't just go up the side. You have to spiral ride it up the side and then you get out. Because if you're, no matter what you have, if you just try to go vertically up the side, you're essentially gonna go back down. So you have to create the movement. Now, if you're not accelerating, you're gonna be going, and the stand is just gonna be putting you right back into that hole. You know, I forgot what those are called. But you have to continue to create connectivity and continuity of movement, otherwise you're gonna get fucked. Because the other guy's in a better position.
Just that little wedge
Yeah.
made me go like, oh fuck, like
Yeah.
I can't stay here.
Yeah.
That was.
That's why, what I do is, I keep you in a situation where I'm dynamic and I can actually move, okay? So here, I'm doing the same thing to you as what I was showing you need to be doing to me. Go ahead. The point is that you do that from all the positions. You do that from guard, you do that from top, you do that from bottom. There's no position from which you can't configure that restriction of movement and the feeling. But for you, watch.
I felt it. I was like, well, I know.
So it turns into like a chess game where who can now execute the strategy and tactics more effectively is the one that's gonna win. So if you're here, right, pinch your left elbow, here, yeah. And think of your left hand, bring your left knee up and tuck your left hand on the inner left thigh. See how it traps my underhook here? Okay? And now you're framing here, okay? Yeah, right there. So now, this right here, I know is a potential problem for me because I need to keep him flat. If he's turning to his side, yeah, keep turning to your side. You see that right there? I can't effectively pull this out if you keep it hooked and bring your left knee up more. Yeah, right there. You feel that? Yeah, recompose the guard. Sweep him.
I was having just an unwarranted amount of success with that for like 2 weeks.
So you're here? Here, look. Look to your right.
Got it.
You feel that?
Yeah, it sucks.
Okay. So now from here, what do you feel like you would want to do?
Like right now, I feel like I've got to get this arm out.
You feel that? Just look what happens. Watch this. So I'm here. You go here, I frame, and I go here. Don't pull it out.
Yeah, it's stuck. And if I do, I have to commit to make space. And now.
How do you do this here?
I did that on training the other day.
How the hell was that?
I don't know if John did it to me. I thought he was going to freaking break my arm.
Oh, okay. They grab the collar here, and then they go here. Yes, because you grab the collar.
PTSD.
Okay.
Me and Michael were working on that for a little bit.
What?
Me and Michael were playing with that movement.
So here, you see how this is loose? What do you like better? This? Like what feels better for you? Where my arm is?
When it's
Here,
I like
right?
this, yes.
Correct. So I don't want that shit here. If anything, I need this here, okay? But your head's down, okay? So I'm gonna be here, right? And watch. Hip, look.
yeah, it's that once you get on your side, I'm like,
Correct.
I cannot stay here.
So the dilemma here is this. Look, I jam up your underhook with this strange little counter, and as I turn to my side, okay, you notice that if you let me keep turning, your arm's exposed.
Yep.
So now you gotta shove that underhook even deeper in order to be able to do much with me here, and that's when you begin to already create the needed space, because this right here can really create a problem here. Look,
And if you shove it too deep, it's just a sweep.
if you shove it, yeah, so see here, if I already turn my side, even if you keep shoving it in, it's not a good situation for him. Because he may be able to pass here, but his arm is stuck still. Because I went from here now to here.
The thing I noticed that you did that I really didn't like was the way you got that. That was because you actually rotated your legs all the way this way to lock up
Yes.
the grip,
Yes.
and then went back and it just cinched it down.
Correct, because the way that Pedro Sauer, Master Sauer, teaches it, he just goes like this. But it doesn't work, because I don't get enough tension here. See that right there? So the way it works is,
That's super tight.
yes. See how it's like straightens it out into like a straight arm lock. But the way he showed it was he did this. He goes, all you gotta do is hook the leg, and now you're here. And then you start turning right here. And then like, and of course the guy's cooperating, so he's turning, I'm turning, and he's all like, cut like a straight arm lock. But that shit doesn't work. I tried it that way and fucked up. But what does work is this.
Yeah, that is so tight.
Hey, Professor, can you get that close sleep on? Kinda?
Professor, thank you. I got
Yeah,
it. Thank you. Really appreciate you.
Lasso?
Yeah.
No, because I
Can you reach under and roll me over?
Thank you, guys. See you guys.
Not like,
Maybe.
sort of like that.
maybe I'll upload this for you guys too. Yeah, no
I
problem.
think this is really close to that Pittsburgh butterfly.
Look, so we're here, right? Look. I wouldn't even go for a
Yeah,
lasso.
why would you even sweep?
I can't, because I need to do something with my right leg.
Right. Okay, yeah.
So once we're here, we're here. Okay.
Work now.
But I'm out. You know what I mean? So
I forgot I was doing something to you. That's right, I'm attacking Professor. Professor's
just
showing his cage.
gets that blank look on his face. Next thing you know. So